Hello everyone. So about 13 weeks ago, we started on this marketing journey to examine all the different attributes of marketing. And one of the things that we began with was talking about the 4 P's: the product, the price, the place, and the promotion, and how all 4 have to come together to create a consistent message for your target audience. That last P, promotion, can itself be divided into a number of subcategories, such as advertising and public relations, which we've already looked at, and then the subject of today's video, which will be personal selling and sales promotion. And in some ways, these are very, very different parts of the promotion aspect of the marketing mix. But sometimes the same personnel are involved in both. So let's begin by talking about personal selling. Personal selling is actually somewhat of a throwback to an earlier era. We know that in the beginning of the 1900s we had the product era, where we had assembly lines, we had industrialization, and basically what a company said was, we have washing machines. Don't you want to have one? Come buy it. Then we moved into the sales era, where many people already have their washing machines. So now companies had to come up with a little more proactive way of getting people to purchase their product. And one of the ways they did this was through the salesman. And then we moved on to the marketing era, which we are in now, where it's more about an ongoing relationship between the company and the consumer in meeting the consumer's needs. Well, the personal selling aspect of promotion goes back to that sales era, where there was a single person who was working one-on-one with a potential customer in order to close a sale. This is today, it can still be effective. It is the single most expensive tool in our toolbox, because you're looking to make one sale from one person or one family, one couple, through the interaction between your salesperson and that person or that couple. It takes a lot of time. You have to pay your salespeople. It's expensive. However, because of that, it's still a very common tool used for high-ticket items. For instance, almost all automobiles today are sold through this type of arrangement, where you've got a salesperson who is doing personal selling. The same thing goes for very high-end appliances, for boats, for real estate. Most people wouldn't even dream of trying to buy or sell real estate without having an agent serve as their salesperson. And so on these high-ticket items, you still do have a high degree of personal selling. Personal selling, whereas you may have a great relationship with your realtor. If they do a good job, they sell your house, you get what you want, everything goes smoothly. The 300 papers that you have to sign at closing are all prepared. You might be very happy with them. You might also have had a situation where you walked into an auto dealership and all you felt was pressure, pressure, buy this, buy that. And so personal selling has developed, for many consumers, a negative image. And I'll give you a great example of that from my personal life. Number of years ago, I was on vacation, and there was a timeshare building that was offering units for sale. And if you're unfamiliar with timeshare, it basically means that instead of buying a condominium at a vacation location, you buy it for 2 weeks. So basically you're going in with 26 other people, and you're sharing a condominium. And maybe you have the 3rd week in June every year. And this was a very, very big up-and-coming practice in the 1980s and the 1990s. There were a lot of condominiums going up for sale in vacation resort areas, and they were being sold as timeshares instead of outright as condominiums. And there was a promotion going on. If you come to our timeshare resort, and if you let us give you a tour, we'll give you a $50 coupon to a local restaurant. Well, it happened to be a restaurant that I really wanted to go to. So we said, yeah, let's go. We'll do the tour. We'll get our coupon and we'll go and have dinner. So we did that. And when I started the tour, I started by telling the salesperson right up front, I said, look, I am not going to buy anything today. I am not signing a contract today. I am not putting money down today. I will go through the tour, I will listen to what you have to say, and if I think it's a good deal, I'll sleep on it and I'll come back tomorrow. Now, I was not their typical client. Most people will not be that bold and upfront. That's who I am, and that's what I did. So the salesperson took us on a tour of the entire resort, and the pools, and the beach, and the restaurants, and the rooms, and isn't it wonderful? And throughout the tour, he kept saying things such as, and of course this would be much less expensive than buying a condo outright. Don't you agree? And this would be one way to save on all of your future vacations forever. Don't you agree? And this is a really high quality resort. Don't you agree? Well, you know what? It didn't matter whether I agreed or not, because number one, I already told him I would not put money down on the day of the presentation. And number two, the fact that he used the same phrase over and over was a red flag tip-off that this guy is just doing a hard sell. Now, from the personal selling perspective, personal salesmen are supposed to determine or anticipate what your objections are going to be and meet them as they go through the presentation. So by using that phrase, that's what he was trying to do. But all it did was tip me off to the fact that he was trying to put me into a formula, to pressure me into something that I already told him I was not going to do. This went on for 2 hours. At the end of the day, he sat us down at a table. So, do you object to anything I've said? Can you see the value in this? On and on. I did not sign. He brought his superior over, his manager over, and they started the hard sell again. And I said, stop. I'll take my $50 coupon for the restaurant. I'll see you tomorrow if I'm interested. They finally gave up on me. Now, what they were trying to do at that table was close the sale, which is another phrase you'll hear quite often in this business. They were anticipating objections, they were trying to get me to agree with them, and then they were trying to close the sale. This high-pressure approach is obvious. It makes many customers feel uncomfortable, and a good marketing firm is going to find a way to present through a personal seller without raising those red flags. And just to end the story, the following day, I had decided it was a good deal, and I went back with a check in my hand and found the salesman and said, I'm ready to buy unit 3031, week 34. Here's the check. Take it or leave it. They had no idea what to do with me because they just didn't have customers like this. But it's important for you, if you're dealing with a personal sale situation, that you are strong up front and don't be bullied. It's important for you, if you have a business and you're using personal salesmen to promote your good, that you're not actually off-putting to potential consumers because of the use of, quite frankly, very cheesy phrases and very obvious ways to strong arm them. Having said all that, If you're selling high-ticket items, you're going to want personal selling. You're going to want someone who knows the details of the car or the boat or the house that you're looking at. You're going to want someone who, if they don't know the answer, says, I don't know, but I'll get back to you, rather than, well, I think this is the answer. Because I've dealt with salespeople like that. You can make personal selling very effective, because if you sell one item, one product in your inventory, it's high ticket, it's a lot of money, and it's worth that salesperson. But if you're going to use very old school, low class selling techniques, it's not going to happen. That's personal selling. The last aspect of promotion is actually the cheapest form of promotion, and it's the one you see all the time. And its very unsexy name is sales promotion. When you get a coupon in the mail, when you go to the store and it says buy one get one free, that has become so common these days that you won't even see the phrase anymore. You'll see BOGO, B-O-G-O, buy one get one. When you go to a supermarket and they're playing Monopoly, for every dollar you spend, you get X number of Monopoly tickets, and you go home and figure out if you've won something. When you enter a contest of some sort. All of these are sales promotions. They generally, as I've said, are the least expensive way of generating interest in your product. They're a very good way of collecting data. Because if you're using coupons, you know what time of day, at what store it was used. You might even be able to tell from that supermarket, depending on their system, what other products were purchased in addition to the one that you provided the coupon for. You can tell right away whether your sales have increased or decreased based on that coupon. You can see geographic differences. You get a lot of good information. Same thing with games online. Enter now for a free, dinner at Joe's, whatever it happens to be. You're giving them your name, you're giving them your email, you might be giving them a phone number to contact. You are providing them with all the information that they would normally have to spend money to obtain from some other source. So from that perspective, all of those promotions they're common, we're used to them, we look for them, they're helpful. In some respects, it is extremely debatable as to whether or not it actually increases sales at all. And another personal example, we eat a lot of tuna fish in this house, and I know I go through X number of cans every month. And I was at the supermarket, and they had a buy one, get one free sale. So I bought my usual number of cans, and then I got another dozen free. Now, if I eat tuna fish at the same rate that I normally eat tuna fish, that means I'm not going to go back in a week or two and buy another 12 cans. I won't need to. I've already got them. So there's a really good chance it did not increase their sales at all over the long term. It simply gave me some free tuna fish, which was great. Now, a company might still want to do that if they feel they'll be able to attract people who are not committed to their brand, and by putting more of their brand in the consumer's house, that consumer may now become used to that brand and seek it out. That's possible. It could also be that there was a bit of an overstock and they need to get rid of some, and this is a good way to clear the shelves of that overstock before it goes out of date or something like that. So there could be useful reasons for doing something like that, in addition to collecting data. But whether or not it's effective, we don't know. Now, why do we take personal selling, which is this high-end ticket approach, and coupons? You think of, grandma sitting cutting coupons out of the newspaper. Why do we put them together in one lesson? Because the world doesn't operate according to textbooks, quite frankly. And you can see one company might use just personal selling, You can see one company may just make a great use of sales promotions and games and come-ons and all sorts of attractive little contests. Very often, companies that are mid-size, companies that are not giant corporations and they're not very low ticket either, they're somewhere in the middle, they're going to have salespeople who are going to have to do all of this. And very often it's the salesperson who works one-on-one with someone who is also going to be the person in charge of implementing the sales promotions, the contests, the games, and all that other stuff. So in the real world, one person may be fulfilling multiple roles in doing both of these. Now, everything I've talked about so far has really been business to consumer. In the business to business market, where business people are selling goods to other business people, personal selling is the standard way of doing this. When I ran a bookstore, I had personal salespeople come in from Simon & Schuster Publishing or Bantam Books. They would come in on a regular basis. I knew them. I trusted them. They let me know what the new titles were coming out for the next season, what promotions were available, and I worked with them. On a business-to-business level, having a sales force, having salespeople go in, very often they will go into the retail stores and actually stock the shelves or help out putting the promotions together. That is absolutely standard. So where there's less of a use for it across the board with consumers, it is the standard way of doing business in the business-to-business model. So that pretty much wraps up our marketing course. Hopefully you've been able to sharpen your skills, get a little more organized in your head as to how a marketing campaign actually goes from start to end, all the different elements that go into it, and all the craziness involved in trying to market your product in a competitive environment to a fickle consumer base. It's Tom Simmons. We'll see you again.